All right. I call a regular meeting of the Milken Board of Trustees for September 23rd, 2020 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the acting town clerk please call roll?
Trustee Wakeman,
Here.
Trustee Trailer, Trustee Smith,
Here.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Here.
Trustee Granquist,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Here.
Mayor Austin.
Here. Okay, does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda? We will be adding on to the discussion agenda the skate park. Chief will have a little update for us. And the land use code. I'll take a motion to amend the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Acting town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Do we have any citizens' comments? Anyone's going to get up and comment? Well, I'll just skip right over that. Meeting minutes. Is there any discussion or comments on the meeting minutes of September 9th, 2020? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve September 5th, 2020 minutes.
September
Okay.
9th.
9th, excuse me.
Second.
Don't have my glasses on.
Acting town clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Any questions on the paid list of bills? No questions. All right. We can move on to the town administrator's report, interim town administrator Powell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the streets department this week and next will be doing hot asphalt patching in Colony Point on County Road 21, Wildcat Acres, County Road 378, and County Road 19. And so getting those done. Parks Department is completing the drip system at the Heritage House. End of next week, they're going to start blowing out some of the irrigation systems in preparation for the winter. As we were talking during the work session, the Hillsborough ditches stopped running. We filled up the lakes as best we can until next year. Today, Don Stonebrink, Leonard Wiest, and I met with members of City of Greeley's Water Department regarding the town's peak usage for the year. Those usages affect what our water rates are going to be from the City of Greeley. It was a good conversation, I think. They were unaware of the fact that the RO plant had been down for those 3 months from June 6th until September 1st. So in calculating our rates for next year, they will take that into consideration. That and the fact that, we were a drought year. But it's another point that I'd like to continue our conversation on regarding those residents that are overusers. Those usages also affect our peak water use. Yes, ma'am.
So did the finance director get a chance to sample those houses and do a distribution telling us what areas of town those houses are basically
Yes,
located in?
he did a sampling, I believe, of 20 homes.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the homes from the sampling, I believe, came from the Mad Russian area.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of those lots there, especially in the older section, are larger. I think they try to compete with the golf course. green lawns. Very pretty, but it's also a lot of water, especially in a year that we've had 70-plus days of 90-degree weather or better.
Okay, I'm very concerned with the fact that the Mad Russian predominantly uses Greeley water because they're uphill. And so that's our highest cost water, and we're passing that on to all of the residents.
Well, and that's exactly what happens when you have the overuse and then you get hit with these peak
Yeah.
rates. Exactly. So then it's not just one area that's being affected, it's everyone. So I think for this month's newsletter, there is a flyer going out explaining what water you have, meaning with a 5/8" water tap or water meter, you have 170,000 gallons of water to use per year. We're starting the conversation with the residents. We're trying to get some education to them.
Great.
So come January 1, I think that's when we'll send out some letters to those that may have exceeded that amount for the year. Nothing, harsh, but just letting them know. Let's keep an eye on this. And it does. It's a domino effect. You overuse water, the peak usage goes up for the day or the months in the summer, and those peaks affect our water rates from the city of Greeley. So, and then everybody is paying for that. Because then we have to in turn increase our water rates.
But I don't think that if we have a few people that are driving that, those are the people that are going to need to be.
Well,
Paying the
I
higher
think
price.
again too, we'll
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I mean, we might have to at some point adjust our tiers a little more, maybe as an attention getter. I don't know. It's one thing if somebody has high water usage because they had a water leak and did not know about it.
Right.
The town has always worked with those folks. It's another thing when you've overused the water in order to have very green grass.
Correct. I agree. Thank you.
You're welcome. The school district met on last Wednesday, is that correct, Peggy?
Yes.
Trustee Wakeman? And from my understanding, a decision's not been made as to where the placement of the high school is going to be at this point. I believe they're going to do some more investigation, soil testing and surveying of the properties. That was the information I received. And do we know, I don't know, if they're going to make a decision prior to the ballot.
They're hopeful on that. We are hopeful, I guess I need to say. Right now, what we're looking for are soils tests, and I would say for Milliken, the main concern is access Road 46 and Quintin Avenue. But definitely looking at the actual cost of development for each of the locations to see if there's a huge cost savings one way or the other. We have a meeting tomorrow, Zoom meeting to get more information, so.
I guess the good news for Milliken is that, we're still in the running for the high school, so it would be a great asset to the town.
Yes. It is a 3:00 meeting. I think it's, I don't think it's an open meeting. It's with our contractor, so.
And that's all I have, but, so we've been busy.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, we have nothing on the consent agenda, so we're moving to, the first item is the acceptance of the 2019 audited financial statements.
Good evening, Mayor and Trustees. Unfortunately, tonight we do not have the 2019 audited financials yet back from BDO, formerly ACM, due to kind of multiple of reasons. One being with our finance director being new at the end of the year and then transitioning from him, or from Molly to him, sorry. And when COVID hit, our audit took place, but they were all working remotely. We were working remotely. We got them everything they needed in April. They are still working from home. They have not gone back to the office, but they didn't get it completed. They still plan to have it completed for the September 30th deadline to the state. What our plans are to do is what we send to the state, we would also email to you guys on that same day. And then BDO would like to come present the audit to you at the October 14th meeting.
What happens if they don't have it done by September 30th?
I believe there's repercussions from the state, but I don't know what that is.
On us or the auditors?
It would probably be both. More probably on the auditors because we're waiting on them at this point. We've gotten them all of our stuff.
So is that the actual date, or are we already under an extension? I thought there was an appeal.
This is the extension.
Right. So
Correct.
it's supposed to be done by July 31st,
Correct.
right? And
Yep.
then-
And they don't authorize any other extensions. I did ask them that.
Is it the Greeley location, or what location are you dealing with?
Now that they merged with BDO, I think they're mostly still in Greeley, but some of them are in Denver. Tyra is our main person this year, so it's a different person than it was last year. But she's done our audits prior years. So, and they also are short-staffed. I know with the transition, it sounds like, I don't know, people were let go or just what happened there staff-wise, but she did apologize to us as well.
So we had the same situation last year, right? It was
Last year was a little different. They came and presented the audit, and then we had to file an extension because they didn't review the 2 bonds that we did. So then they had to make a few changes, and so we made them come back and present it. So yes, there was an issue.
Well, and I don't think that it was like a draft presentation that they did for us. It wasn't the finished product.
It was a draft, correct.
And I don't know, are they doing this to us because we're small? And, you know, I think I'm willing to understand that it happens
Sure.
occasionally, but year after year, I guess it concerns me a little bit that they're just putting us off because we're small.
Sure.
So,
Wade Nickerson, when are you going to be back into the office? Will you be back in for our next board meeting?
I hope to be back in, but my doctors have not given me the okay to come back to work yet.
It'll be a future agenda item. Thank you.
Has anybody talked to management at the firm?
We haven't spoke with Randy recently. We did early on, but it's been just with Tyra and her assistant Ashley, and then Wade and I. He's been included on the emails of discussions and what I said that we would do tonight, so, but he didn't respond.
Would you happen to know if in our contract,
with BDO if there's any stipulation as to their completion, a timely completion, penalties if there's not a timely completion?
I don't know, I'd have to look back at it. I don't know if there's any penalties, yeah, we'd have to look at it.
And the last question I have is, will this be going out for bid again for next year?
Well, the other issue is now that we're at the end of September, to try to get someone to come in or to do an RFP, formal RFP, review bids and get someone to come in and do that initial work in January might be cutting it very close. But we can try and see what we get as a response, or we use them one more year. The last one we did was in 2017. But we did the RFP in August and had bids back in September.
I think when they come in to do their presentation, we talk to them about, if we're going to use them again, about getting some regular board updates and that they need to be more timely. Cheryl Powell, what are your thoughts on that?
I certainly think that we need to probably put a little more restrictions, get more information from them early on. I know this was a strange year with everything that occurred. But to find out this morning or today that they weren't going to have it ready when they more or less assured us that it would be, was very disappointing to hear.
Exactly.
So if we do continue with this firm, I think we need to have regular updates, either through them or perhaps through our finance director as to where we're on the audit.
How many years have we been with them?
This
This is our
Third
third
year.
using them again. We had Anderson and Whitney for 3 years between that, and we had been with ACM quite a
Well, and
few
actually, I
before
think
that.
we were pushing it the first year, right? I think it's been ongoing. It's not, we've never been timely since we've been with
Correct, yes.
them.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, or comments? Courtney Diller, I appreciate you presenting tonight.
Sure.
I know it wasn't an easy topic, and
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next up is consideration for approval of a contract with CBL Consultants, and this will be Scott Clem, our Streets and Facilities Director.
Evening, Mayor, board members. So we're bringing this to you tonight because normally this is something we would put out to an RFP bid, but since these guys were part of our Josephine project for us, all the material they have is already started for us. We're bringing it to you in hopes that you will approve this contract so Cheryl can sign it as a town administrator. It will bring our Cherry Street project into realism for us. We probably won't get all the design and everything built. This is the complete design. This, with what they do for us, we'll be able to put it out to bid and get rolling on a project that's been long awaited. Like we said, it's cut and dry. I mean, they've already started the project basically without even starting the project for us. So they've done real good on outlining pretty much all their costs to get us to a bid process. And from there, we've already started talking about maybe having them just do the bid process, RFP for us, keep the system rolling. At that point, we'll bring it back to you guys with a contract for that more than likely. But right now, we're just trying to get a big project rolling real fast, make it simple for everybody. I mean, there will be a few additional costs on the town for geotech and all that they don't include, but that doesn't look to be a major high number. I couldn't tell you that number off the top of my head, but you're probably talking maybe a few $1,000s on that project. But this puts us in a completely redesigned area, completely rebuilt roads, gets a nicer neighborhood for these people finally.
What do we have budgeted for that?
We actually have, I think it was $140,000 for Cherry Street this year, and we haven't spent any of that. So this design, and what we don't spend is our plan is to roll that into next year's building project of it. We do have it budgeted for next year to build that. We have a pretty astronomical number. This will give us a lot more clear number for that number. Unfortunately, we probably won't have it before we're done with the budget, but we'll know going into next year what it'll cost us to complete that project.
Any other questions from the board? Trustee Granquist?
No, not this time.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich?
I have none.
Trustee Rodriguez?
So if we, I guess, are we in compliance if we don't send or ask for bids? Are we in compliance?
If you guys approve it, yes. If I remember right, if the board approves it, we can go without going RFP. If I remember right, we did that with the HVAC contractors, a similar situation. So this would be the similar thing. By you guys approving it, you're authorizing us to go ahead with this contract.
Okay, I have no other questions, thank you.
And the total price is 27.4?
Yes, that'd be basically, like I said, that's the design and the build-up, the design and the finished product for us to build our bids off of.
Okay.
Like I said, there'll be a few miscellaneous costs that aren't included in this, and they did state that in there, that we do have to supply the geotech company. I mean, like I said, that's probably a minimal cost to this contract that would still be covered under this well-budgeted number for Cherry Street project. So, and if it did become a big number, we would just bring it back to you guys for approval. It more than likely would go out to a quick bid if possible. So.
Okay.
Trustee Wakeman, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, I did look at the financial policies, so we are in good shape there. Hearing no further discussion, I'll take a motion.
Upon the recommendation of staff, I move to approve the contract with CVL Consultants for professional engineering services for the design of the Cherry Street Drainage Improvement Project in a form approved by the town attorney and authorize the interim town administrator to sign for a total cost of $27,400 plus some other costs. What'd you say,
Geotechnical.
Geotech.
Second.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Austin.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay. Next up on the agenda item, I'm excited that we're going to have Brandon Smith from our Go Mill Committee for the adoption of the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan. Welcome to our meeting.
Thanks for having me. Good evening. My name is Brandon Smith. Do you need my address again, or from last time? Okay. I appreciate your time. I've come up to basically ask for adoption of the master plan that has been drafted by the Go Mill Committee. We presented it a few months ago, I think about a month or so ago, to the board and just an information session. But I did want to obviously open up if there's any more questions about the master plan. You might see a few minor revisions because we've actually been able to check some boxes off. So our first recommendation was actually to work out code and work out some definitions. Well, we actually were able to work with the planning committee while they're dividing and setting up code right now in the planning, like the code panels and stuff like that. And so we were actually able to get that already worked through. So we're actually pretty much already set there. So like I said, open for any questions. Our goal kind of thing would be to see if we could get the master plan adopted. I think there was a request on the terms where, you know, overall we have some modifications in future that don't require any financial burden with the master plan. We asked that if we could get approval from the town administrator or you know, who's acting at that time instead of the board, but we'd be more than happy obviously to come in and report in however often you need.
Questions from the board on the plan, starting with Trustee Rodriguez?
I have none, thank you.
Trustee Smith?
I think this is a beautiful piece of work, so I have no questions.
Okay. Trustee Wakeman?
I would agree with Scott's statement. It's thrilling to have this before us. So thank you very much for all the work.
Trustee Grandcost,
No questions, well put together.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich.
I have no questions, but great job, man.
Wonderful. Appreciate you coming down tonight, and it's quite a piece of work, so thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're working on a number of proposals right now that we have in the works. We're actually meeting tomorrow on the first one where we're going to start looking to try to get a grant for. And it's actually recommendation number 1, which is the signage. So we did a signage gap analysis already, and we have come up with a proposal that we're going to be hopefully working with the planning committee to try to start executing. So I'm glad that y'all like it. So.
Thank you so much. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, I'll take a motion to adopt.
Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, please, is Scott Smith listed here? Is this our trustee, Scott Smith, on the advisory board?
Yes.
Should he recuse himself from voting with it being, him being on the board as well?
Advising.
That's fine.
Is that okay? I just see it as a conflict of interest potentially in the future if we have to give the Go Mill funds.
Oh, okay.
He's on the advisory board for what? For Go Mill?
Yes.
Go Mill.
And if we potentially give them money in the future, it could be potentially a conflict
We're
of
not giving them
interest.
money now.
In the future, it could be, I'm just bringing it up so that we don't have an issue later down the road.
These are both nonprofit bodies. I don't see a conflict.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I need a motion, sorry.
Make a motion, we approve the Milliken Parks, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan.
I second it.
Acting Town Clerk, please call for a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Grandquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
and Mayor Austin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank y'all.
Okay. Next up is going to be on the amended agenda, Chief Garcia and our skate park.
Sorry. I was getting kind of fogged up. But, Mayor, members of the board, thanks for having me up here. So I was asked to talk a little bit about the skate park, some of the things that are happening out there. Been getting a few complaints about trash, some vandalism, sex at the park. We went out there after we got the complaints. We got the last complaint that we got was on Sunday evening. There was some kids having sex out there. We were able to, after further investigation, we were able to find who the kids were. We identified 2 kids. We're still, there's about 4 other kids that we will contact. We did talk to their parents. They've been banned from the park. So that's what happened Friday night. Some of the other issues are trash. Kids are just not throwing their trash away. You know, there's cups all over the place. They just throw it wherever they want. There's kids drinking out of the one of the sprinkler boxes just to get water. Luckily, it's potable water, and it's the non-pot. So those are some of the things that we've been looking out for. We did identify some solutions for the police department is to get out and do more foot patrols out there. We can drive around the park and see the kids, and the officers, when they look over, they see them having fun. They see them skating, and we don't see the trash. We don't see the other things that are happening around the park. So we're going to be doing a little bit more foot patrols out there. The officers are going to be getting out of their cars and talking with the kids. I've gone out there a couple times. I went out there today, spoke with the kids. We picked up some trash, made sure that they understand that the skate park is important. It's something that where the kids can go, because there are some good kids out there. There are some bad kids. There are kids that like doing stupid stuff, excuse my language, but they like doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But there are some good kids out there that enjoy that skate park. They take pride in that skate park, and I think that's where we as an organization, we need to make sure that we keep that going for those kids and identify those kids that are making it bad for the other kids. So those are some of the things that we've identified. We also identified we probably need to get a camera out there that it's a live camera. Right now we have a camera up there that just takes snapshots, so it's a motion, but it's more for at night when the park's closed. So those are some of the things that I've come up with. You have any questions?
So with the camera, is it a live camera that would tie into an existing system, or is it kind of another?
It's one of the things that we would hope for is
Okay.
to tie it in with the other system, and we haven't investigated that yet to see what type of system that we need, what type of camera we need. So I'd have to get with Steve.
And is it something?
You know it's coming, Steve. I'd have to get with Steve,
Yeah.
the IT guy, to see what our options are.
And is your desire something also that the night officer could pull up on his either laptop or some device and be able to see it even though he's on the other side of
Yeah.
town?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'd also like to tie it into the system that we have here at the police department.
For recording.
So if there's somebody here at the police department, we can see it on our screen.
Do you have any other similar cameras like that anywhere else in town?
We don't. We did have some at the school, but those are old cameras. They went to a whole new system, so they got a whole new system in place out there. Prior to the new system, we were able to log on to the camera system and just watch the skate park, watch the park as well. But they got this whole new system. The cameras that we helped them purchase are old cameras now. So they tried to integrate those into the new system, but they were unable to.
So are those cameras that they worked and you use them?
Yeah, we did use them.
Have they been abandoned and put in storage? Have they been?
They're still on the buildings right now.
Okay, but they're just
Yeah.
abandoned. They're not being
Yeah,
used.
basically. Yeah.
Just curious if maybe we could reclaim those, especially if we have invested some resources into them, if we could reclaim those and possibly reutilize that system.
And I'm glad you brought that up. That was my thought as well.
Okay.
To try to get those. And I spoke with the school resource officer about that to see how we can get the cameras back. So.
Do you know
Yeah.
how many cameras?
We had 2 cameras.
Two.
We had one facing the park, Lola Park, and then we had one facing the skate park.
So would we mount those on poles? Well-greased poles?
Yeah, we can mount them on a pole. There's a few other locations that we can mount them. A few businesses maybe to see if we can partner with some businesses to make sure that, yeah, there's a few places out there, but currently we have one on a pole.
So I'd
one of the
like to
cameras.
think long-term, adding in other security around town, tying a whole system together. Pretty sure Steve doesn't want to climb up on a pole, mount a camera. Don't think it's in his forte. So if we need a security company to come out and just, tell us, well, this is good for now, future, and go up the pole and mount everything.
There are some pole cams that are out there. So there's a lot of systems, pole cams.
Oh, pole cams.
So there are a lot of systems out there that we can look into. We can look into it and see what our best option is, and I can get with Steve to go over that.
It sounds to me maybe this is a good opportunity to kind of assess other areas that might be worth, if we're going to spend the resources and time to look into all this, maybe if there's other parks that need observation or other, high, not necessarily high crime, but potentially high potential areas that you know of, or maybe as you start thinking about it, try and bring those together into one project.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause currently we
that's kind of
have-
where I was going, Si.
Currently, we have two on the police department that we can view downtown. There's one that has a view towards east, so it covers the bank, it covers the railroad tracks, it covers that area out there. The other one covers Town Hall and this area down here, so yeah, that's a great idea, yeah, to look into that.
Can we add another trash can? I was there Tuesday. I was the complainant Sunday night. I admit it, I was. Can we add or move when the trash can's closer? We've got the one trash can, it was already overflowing again, and so when it's overflowing, of course, the kids aren't going to throw any more in it, and they're not going to walk 20 feet down. So maybe if we can do some adjustment there so that they at least use it, because I got to tell you, the kids that were there, you're right, their little faces, they want to skate. They don't want to lose their privilege. It's the few that are making the problem for the many.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we'd have to get with Public Works to see how we can, well, Keith. Yeah. See what. Well, there's your answer.
We can move it anywhere. It's
And
not a big deal.
is it bolted in the room?
Yeah, it's concrete down.
Okay.
And one more thing to Mayor and trustees, our Parks Department is going to start doing weekend parks checks to get out, empty out the trash cans. So we may not run into that issue as often. They do it every day of the week with the exception of the weekends, but now we're going to include the weekends for whoever's on call for the weekend to just go out and do that. And at the same time, it's another eye on the park.
Mm-hmm. I'm still a little unclear. There's the box in the ground, and there's a faucet, it's like a gate valve on it or something like that. The kids are drinking out of that. Is that potable or non-potable?
It goes through a backflow.
It's potable.
It is potable.
Well, thank goodness, because
I
they've been
wouldn't
drinking.
drink out of it.
Well, the kids are.
Is it worth changing that faucet to a key?
We're gonna just take screws and deck screws and screw down the lid so they can't get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
There is a drinking fountain that was out there, but it had been destroyed by probably one of the kids that was trying to jump from it or something. Right now, you can't use them anyway. So once the pandemic settles down, we'll look at maybe a sturdier fountain out there for them.
Can we get a prison grade?
Keith,
That doesn't always work either.
where was that water fountain? Was it on the east side?
It was on the west side.
That side,
Yeah, I've never seen it.
right by the stairs.
As I remember, we ran a PEX line all the way around the east side for a water fountain on the east side.
Yeah, that's where the hose bib is. It's in the jumbo box. It's the lid.
Okay, okay. So it can still be blown out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So anyway, yes, Benny and I have been discussing the skate park for the last couple of weeks, and so there's been extra patrol going around through there, and we're not going to catch everything all the time. Having cameras there, I would feel a whole lot better. I did not realize at the time that the ones on the school were not operational, because I knew we had one looking at the park and one looking at Lola Park as well. So we definitely need to look at.
Well,
So the school did try to integrate those cameras into their system at the beginning of this year. And for some reason, the new system, they were too old, the cameras.
well, the other thing is even if the officers catch the kids red-handed, the parents are like, oh, not my angel. Whereas if we have them on video,
Yeah.
it's like, well, isn't this your child? So.
So what is the process for who, because we're talking to a police chief, but I don't think we've got the security camera side, but we've also got some, water / lighting and pole issues. So how do we, who's the person that is it the interim town administrator that kind of guides that project? Are you gonna collect all that?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. We meet every
Yeah.
Tuesday, staff meetings. It's the best time for us to collaborate and gather information from one another. So that's typically what we do.
We're kind of at the beginning stages, so we've been talking. So when we come up with a plan, definitely,
We'll keep you informed.
yeah.
Okay.
But also got to add, the crime out there at the skate park is very minimal. Don't have any assaults, anything like that. The biggest thing we have is just a littering out there. We have some kids cussing at each other, different things like that. But as far as assaults and things like that, there's none of that out there, at least that we know of.
Need to keep an eye on them.
Great.
Yeah.
Any other questions or concerns from the board? Thank you so much, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, Pepper McClanahan, the land use code. So we were supposed to receive our land use code, I think, on September 9th, but then the meeting for that, which was going to take place on the 23rd, got moved back to next week.
Yes, the final polishing of this from staff is taking longer than I anticipated. I contacted and spoke with our consultants earlier this week. My final edits will be to them by the 30th. They're going to carve out approximately a week or two to pull the final draft together and then expect to get that to you by October 15th. So we are slightly off the schedule. The good news is that we're not off the budget. And I have talked with the interim town administrator about whether we need to approach DOLA. Actually, they contacted us, come to find out, about whether we need to extend the deadline to be safe. Our deadline is November 30th. I fully intend to be able to meet that, but it might not be a bad idea for us to request a little extension just to make sure.
Because we're already on one extension, so this would be extension number 2. We may not get it, so I think we need to plan on not getting that extension.
I am planning on not getting it, yes.
So in walking backwards, we do have budget meetings that the board is going to have. We have to have a public hearing that has to be noticed for 2 weeks. So we're looking at, can't be November 25th because isn't the 26th Thanksgiving? So we usually move that meeting to the 23rd. What are we looking at?
Well, and speaking of that too, it came to our attention, I believe, Tuesday, November 11th, which would be the first board meeting in November, is Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Town hall's closed.
Yes.
And so I would like the board to think about and consider possibly holding those meetings on the Tuesday prior for each meeting in November.
Okay, I think each board member, if you can take a look at your calendars and agree, or notify Cheryl if you cannot do the 10th and the 24th. But if we're approving it on the 24th and it's due on the 30th and there's any final edits, that's really cutting it close. So I think, are we shooting for the 10th for the public meeting?
The 10th of November?
Yeah.
We can see how that works. That
Okay.
gives you a couple of weeks to review the draft.
Because we need a page-by-page review.
Yes, and
Not
each
just-
article is approximately 50 pages, and there are 7 articles. There will be an 8th one. I still have not gotten the definition section from the consultants, which is the final thing I need to review. and then make sure it matches up with all the terminology and the rest of the code.
So that was going to be my question. So we've got 400 pages, and we need to meet with the planning commission. That's going to be tight.
Yes, ma'am.
And have you spoken with the planning commission yet on their schedule availability?
I have not. I did send them a memo to let them know that we weren't going to be having the joint work session on the scheduled date. And we will have a planning commission on a meeting on October 7th. We'll put that on the work session.
So it looks like we'll be using the 7th and the 14th to review the draft. Is that right? Is that our new target dates?
New target date to get the draft out to you is the 15th.
15th of October.
Yep. I'm trying to get as clean a copy together for the consultants, so they have less work to do. And I've carved out almost my entire days to work on this project. So we put to bed some projects like the TAP grant. We did the final walkthrough on that today. There's some paperwork that'll need to be done with that, but trying to minimize. We have some other big applications that are coming in as well for projects that have been presented to you probably about a year ago. So, yes, so the 15th is the new target date.
So it'd be the 28th of October, November 4th that we'd be looking at to review with the planning commission. Is that right?
Yes.
And then the 10th, it would come before the board. No, it can't. It's got a 2-week notification. We're still back to it coming before the board on November 24th and hoping that it passes. Is that right? Have I got the dates right, Cheryl?
Yeah, is that the Tuesdays, November 24th?
Yes.
Yes.
We would need to, and I would recommend just going ahead and asking me for an extension, whether we need it or not. We just need to let Department of Local Affairs know. We should have that letter to them by September 30th. You know, they'll request an explanation and a few other items on there, but I think we should at least attempt to do that.
Agreed. Do you think we'll get that extension? I know it's hard, you don't have a crystal ball, but...
Department of Local Affairs has been really good with the town, and they realize that this year, for a lot of people, it's been hard. I don't foresee a problem, but I don't have that crystal ball, like you said. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the request, you know, whether we need it or not, should be made.
Agreed. So does anybody right now know of any conflict with the October 28th, November 4th meeting dates to meet with the planning commission?
No, I can make it, but I think we also need to figure out when we're gonna have our budget meetings.
October
They're gonna
28th.
have to work in there also.
Yes, I'm sorry?
October 28th is our standard meeting night. Were you meeting the 28th? Or the?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, then we're gonna have to work around what nights we're gonna be going over budget. So, Wade, when do you think you'll be ready with the budget draft to start reviewing with us?
Sorry.
Expect to have that for the next meeting, the first meeting in October. We may be able to get it to you sooner, but that'd be the first meeting.
So that would be the first meeting in October, that would be October 14th.
Yes, ma'am.
We usually have at least 2 nights of budget meeting.
This one, Wade, correct me if I'm wrong, we need to have a proposed budget to the state by the 15th. So that's why this one on the 14th, it needs to come to you. And then I think at that point, we need to, before we have a final budget, start getting together for some work sessions regarding the budget.
Okay.
Before the 14th.
No, before December.
No, before
12th or
December.
something.
December is the final budget.
Yeah.
14th is just that we've been working on it. Here's a proposed budget to the state. And then the final budget is due in December.
Okay.
I would not be able to meet on the November 4th date.
I could on the 4th, but I cannot on the 17th. If we do the 17th, 24th, I'm fine.
I'm sorry. Somebody say they couldn't meet on the 10th?
17th and 24th for me, I couldn't on those 2 Tuesdays.
17th and 24th.
24th I can, 17th I can't.
November?
Yes.
We don't have anything on the
Well, I have anything
17th of
17th.
November.
10th and 24th.
Yeah,
Okay, I can do both.
all right.
I'm good.
The 24th I could make work, but I probably prefer Monday as opposed to Tuesday of that week.
The 23rd?
The 23rd. would be
How's
better-
everybody on the 23rd of November?
I'm
Be
fine.
better for me.
I don't have anything.
I'm fine.
Okay,
Either one, which make it work.
Works for me.
okay, so the land use code goes to the 23rd. And we can still make that's a public meeting, 2-week notification. Okay.
So same time, 1700, 1800, or 5, 6 p.m.? What, on the 23rd?
Correct, just like
Yeah.
a regular board meeting.
So 5, start at 5?
And could we clear the work session to use the work session? Well, we'll have business on the board. We have to continue after.
I have an appointment ending
Yeah.
at 5:30 that evening, so
Okay.
I can try to move that up, but it may be that I can't quite get here until 6. It's in Greeley, so it's not far.
Well, the November 23rd, we're talking about approval. So by that time, we should have reviewed everything and be ready to go at the actual meeting, so that shouldn't be an issue for you, Derek.
Okay,
Trustee Granquist.
that's fine.
And if those dates work, I'll have to publish notice
Okay.
to the breeze.
All right, if we can get a recap of the important dates on an email, it would be nice, so that we're all clear on what we're doing on which day, it would be great.
Okay. I'll make sure that I get that on Monday. I'm off tomorrow and Friday. So I'll work in conjunction with Pepper
Okay.
and get those dates put together and the meeting dates as well and send them out.
Okay, because the only other thing we need to work in is the additional budget meetings, because we only scheduled the 14th for the initial. Okay. Thank you.
So to clarify, are we doing November 9th or 10th?
10th.
10th.
So that's on Tuesday,
Yeah.
and the 24th is Monday.
23rd.
23rd. 23rd is
Monday.
Thank you.
It's all right, thank you. Okay, any other questions on our schedule? Now that we got that worked out? On the information agenda, we have a written report on the Western Equipment and Truck. Any questions on that? Okay. Next item on the agenda is an executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-4024E, for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategies for negotiations, and instructing negotiators with respect to the town's contract with Town Administrator Tim Singwall, and pursuant to Section 24-6-4024B of the Colorado Revised Statutes for the purpose of receiving legal advice from the town attorney on specific legal questions related to the town's contract with Town Administrator Tim Singwall. Town Attorney Matt, are we doing both of these executive sessions in one?
Yes.
Thank you, just making sure. Okay, I'll take a motion and then we'll take a 5-minute break.
Twenty-four 6-402.
402E
E.
and B.
Okay. Make a motion, we go into executive session pursuant to section 24-6-402, 4E of the Colorado Revised Statutes for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategies for negotiations, and instructing negotiators with respect to Town Administrator's Tim Singwall's contract. And also section 24-6-4024B of the Colorado Revised Statutes for the purpose of receiving legal advice from the town attorney on specific legal questions related to Town Administrator Tim Singwall's contract.
Second it.
Acting Town Clerk, please take a vote.
Trustee Wakeman,
Yes.
Trustee Granquist,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich,
Yes.
and Mayor Henry.
Yes, so attending the meeting is Trustee Granquist, Mayor Pro Tem Ehrlich, myself, Trustee Wakeman, Trustee Smith, Trustee Rodriguez, Town Attorney Matt Gold.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.